what's the right age to start? What was that kind of what the question was? When's the right time to start?
Yeah, let's talk about this.
And I think we all agree that it's when the blood work says, maybe when your body says and stuff, and you kind of discuss it with somebody. And then also when your goal is kind of set up for it. Yeah. Because again, I'm going to go against the guy that goes in and goes, I'm 21 years old. I want to win Mr. Olympia next year. All right. Well, wait till you're 22 and then decide that. But
how long have you been training?
Yeah. I'm going to train after I get on the tee. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Hey, let me take 1 second here to let you guys know that my products, the Titan Crew, are available over at Walmart. You got the pump product, get that focus on the workout. The test booster, bump it naturally. And then the joint support, you gotta keep the joints healthy. That way you can train for a lifetime. I want to take that 1 minute. Let's get back into the podcast. Thanks again. All right, guys, it is Friday. This is the Mike O'Hearn Show here on Generation Iron. You may hear Titan behind us. He's feeding and training, so he might be a little bit loud. But that's a good lead into what this next show is going to be about. For a lot of you, I think you still assume me as a bodybuilder, a power lifter. Guys, I stopped competing in the 90s. In the 90s, think about that. So I stopped competing before a lot of you were actually born. So what does that mean for health and fitness? You never retire from health and fitness. You never do. And so my philosophy is, how can I continue to do better in the next chapters of my life? And then how can I pass that on to anybody else that wants to learn that? So since the late 90s, 2000s, and so on until we are into 2023 now, which is great. And what are the options even today? What is available for you? So this segment is going to be a continuous of something we did before. I got two of the masters here, the two leaders at Transcend, to talk further about something that I think is crucial as you age. And also it's crucial for you youngsters to understand this stuff and how your body works at a young age. So you may not, hopefully, mess it up. I always talk about, if I did things differently in my career, I wouldn't be here today doing what I do. Because I took a certain road for myself as a youngster, I was able to do this for a long, long lifespan and live at a high peak of the industry, at that one tier at the top, and continue to do what I do. And so if I can pass this stuff on to you guys, that's what this next show is going to be continuously about. We were calling it the journey with Transcend. So let's start our next chapter with them. Let's bring the boys on. It's interesting because you see these guys. I just filmed with Jonathan in a movie, Magazine Dreams, and he looks incredible. He's a huge actor. He's going to be the biggest thing this year. And Creed 3 is coming out now, and everybody's talking about him because he fights the main actor in the movie, and they're talking about his physique. And it's funny because I saw, as we were both getting ready for this movie, we're both training like mad dogs, and I know he's a natty guy. And he's an actor, but because he has a good body and he was so disciplined, because as an actor, you're mostly at his level, you are disciplined. And so he trained for a good year and a half and changed his physique. And now everybody's going, oh, he's gassed out of his mind. I'm like, you guys, just stop. He's an actor. He has no bearing on that world and stuff. And they do that to the guy that played Thor. And the guys that's done Thor, it's been a long time. And it took him like 10 years to get to that physique. And they're like, oh no, he's gassed up. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you guys you're just jumping to the end road. When the end road, if you get to there, could help you live a long, full life. Yeah. But you're bypassing the meat, the training and the work ethic that everybody talks about.
It's funny, the examples we're using, one of the consistent values is their discipline and their ability to stay the course. And whether it's in acting or in sports, that's the real secret sauce. Those are the ones that are having longevity because they're doing it right. And then they use things like we have to provide as supplements later, supplemental to things that are deteriorating over time. They're just combating it and bringing themselves where they should be.
It just seems so easy to me and you guys that it's like, if you're going to use that for the reasons for your mother, right?
Mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law. Okay, but there's time adds up. You beat your body down long enough, and life beats your body down.
Mm-hmm.
There's things you can go to help you continue that full life. And in the fitness world, which sucks, the majority, or the health and fitness or the sports world, they just jump to it at such a level, at such a young level, when they don't need to do it, and they shut themselves down when it could enhance them later on. And so I just want to say to you kids at home, man, please just wait. Just check your numbers if you think there's something wrong. And yes, 20-year-olds can have 200 testosterone and should go see a doctor and should go do this. So all your Instagram snowflakes that say, no, it's 35. No, nobody's the same.
That's how you feel.
Yeah.
Go check it. Go see it. Go get your blood work. Anybody can get their blood work. Can anybody just get their blood work done?
Through us, it could. We would be able to do that.
And why wouldn't you want to get your blood work done? Just curiosity. I mean,
I don't understand why you couldn't. Usually, primary care physicians, because hormone panels, it's indicative of age and when they should be treated. They don't see a medical necessity to do those type of panels, so they'll refuse to do them. So
even in today's society, the only reason I say that is because of how depressed people are.
Yeah,
well, mostly kids.
They're quicker to give you an SSRI than they are to check your hormone.
And also, that's what it is. They typically just do your metabolic panel and don't check for hormones and just say, "Oh, here we go. Here's a $3 test. Oh, it looks like you're good. You're within the range. Here you go."
They're not looking to see, okay, well, what else is underlying in there that might be causing some things? Oh, look at this chain of issues that are happening. Maybe we should address this first. So one of the things we're doing with the foundation, we're dealing with...
Because your foundation is military, yes? It started military.
Yeah, we're starting military. We're going to be for police, firefighters, veterans, first responders. Right now, we have a veteran community and other charities that we're working with. But we're kind of taking the approach of a council. So we're working with multiple charities, and we have, patients that are coming in that have mental health issues. Well, before we treat them for mental health, let's get their blood work done, because if their hormones are jacked and you go to put them through a treatment, they're not going to actually be able to be balanced out enough to, get the right diagnosis and treatment, even on the mental health side. So there's things there. And then a lot of the guys have TBI. There's medications we have that can help combat that. So we do what we can to kind of get those things corrected, baseline to the best extent. And then we're able to reach out to the next charity and work through, move them through kind of the process. Same thing with the family unit, getting the veteran, the tools that they need, and the family, the tools they need to be able to reintegrate as a family and then be able to kind of work as a cohesive unit again. People forget about secondary PSD. There's a whole plethora of things that go around with that, and you can't just address one piece.
Right.
And that's kind
I'm
of
really glad that you said that you can't address one piece.
No.
That's why you check all the hormones, where a lot of these places are like, oh, you must have low T. That's it.
Yeah. That's all I need to see.
Yeah.
Good. I'll write you a prescription. Here you go. All right. Next, I'll see you next month.
Our society is just real quick to go to, what's the simplest solution? It's got to be this. This is the answer. Go for it. No one steps back and says, what's causing this? Like I said, when we're doing it with veterans and we're going through, work with all of our charities, or we're doing it with our own patients, we take the time to take a step back and see what we can really find underneath.
I don't know if society realizes that energy is so many facets. Yes, testosterone has to play into it. But your testosterone also decreases because you exercise so hard and you're pushing it so hard, but also because you're stressed out.
Yep.
You're living a bad life. You don't like what's going on. You got a bad relationship. There's other things that cause it. It's not just the one thing. I went over to Kuwait, and I'm lucky enough, because of what I've done with TVs and stuff, to go over and do USO tours. And man, military is second level, especially Marines and stuff, because I got to go to the bases and the stuff they were willing to do and how they lived. I can't fathom giving up my life to go over there for a while and do what you guys have done, and come back and be out of whack a bit, in a sense. And then somebody just goes, take this pill, do this. when there's other aspects to it where you could really kind of get their whole bodies going. And that's why gyms are so important. That's why the endorphins and getting them going. So I think that's an amazing thing that you're doing, and you lived it.
Oh yeah.
So it helps that you were there.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it usually they have to wait a while to get it too?
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of issues. The military system itself, the healthcare system, although it's gotten better over the years, especially based on the conflicts we've had, is nowhere near where it needs to be. It's very traditional, and it's very, 15 years behind. The VA is about 30 years behind. And they're doing everything they can to increase their throughput and help people in the system. They're doing the things, but they don't have the knowledge or the resources to be able to do it. And honestly, they don't have the oversight or the push. So, a lot of companies like ours, we form charities and we start just doing it on our own. It's kind of one of those things we got to take care of each other.
So at the second stage, we said about the youngsters, make sure that they talk to somebody that really knows, not their favorite Instagram guy or girl. Talk to somebody that actually understands this stuff. And then anybody out there that's done military or first responders or anything like that that are dealing with stress. And I'm at that age too. It's like I get my blood work done. I want to know what's going on. I do so much. We've been doing cardiology. We're checking everything, and I'm getting so deep into understanding that part of life. And it's amazing what the blood work panel does. And I would like to, at some point, I'm going to have Mona and me do the blood work with you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
On this kind of panel, because I want to compare old blood works with what you guys are doing, what you guys are looking for. I want to pick your brains on this.
All right.
Yeah. So this is something that we're going to definitely happen.
That's exciting.
We're happy to do it. So
I love it.
We're ready when you're ready.
Let's jump on to one more huge thing, and that's kind of like basic questions that Jeffrey has. Do you have a list of ideas that we could go? Because some of the questions I was reading, you can't answer. I don't think you can. Hey, what's the best steroids to do? How long can I do steroids and then get off, and how much do I keep? And it's like, what?
How much is a steroid?
Yeah.
How long can I be on steroids was another question. And then get off before I mess up my blood. I'm like, wow, that's the kind of questions these people are asking.
It just makes you aware that more education has to be pushed out there.
I mean,
Exactly.
there's a lot of information out there. And
Why does one person think that there's one steroid that works and it works for everybody? Isn't more better? Because that's the bodybuilding term, right?
Yes.
If one pill's good, take two.
That's
if two's good, take three.
And men.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's not true. I had great discussions with Lee Priest, and Lee Priest would say, people would go, oh, you're so gassed out of your mind. Or people would go to him and say, I'm on all this stuff. And Lee would go, why? You trying to kill yourself? He goes, I took a little stuff. And then with people he works with, he gives them a little. And they go, wow, why am I reacting so quick? And he and I go, because that stuff is a miracle.
Yeah.
It's an amazing, amazing thing. And you should respect it.
Oh yeah.
Not abuse it. And then use it for the right goals.
They're very powerful. Very powerful. That's why you don't need much of it. And it's a point in time in life where things start to come out in balance. That's when you're going to want to put it back in. Athletes that are doing certain things are obviously going to become depleted younger or sooner. So they might have needs earlier than just, average Joe, but they're powerful. That's why you do the blood work, and more is, less is more.
But those questions even seem dumb for me. Like the 15-year-old me, I was, you guys probably don't know, Anthony Clark was who taught me to do reverse bench back in 90.
Okay.
And he was one of the first 650-pound reverse benchers. And I trained with the Barbarian Brothers. And so we were doing that kind of stuff back then. I'm watching me ask questions as this 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid. And I'm like, good question. Not what did you eat before, but what did you eat the night before, because the carbohydrates need time. And I'm like, good job. You're coming up with the stuff they're talking about now, 35 years later. But the reason why I'm asking it is because I know, like, oxycodone, it's a drug that doctors give and FDA approved and all that, and it destroyed people.
Yeah.
So you hear about so many deaths in the health and fitness world for bodybuilders. Why would they just think, hey, you know what? I'm Joe. I'm in Idaho. I'm jumping on some shit. And they don't give it any second thought. Like maybe do some real research.
Yeah, that's why we're here as well, because we want to promote that knowledge to the bodybuilding world about blood work because of all this stuff happening too. But another thing you can do, what you have realized, so many people, is if you take too many or like too much, it has an adverse side effect. So that's a way of it telling you, hey, enough is enough too. You get all lethargic, sleepy, tired, it's not working anymore.
Again, that's why the promotion of blood work, and that was one of the things we aligned with Phil, because we're not promoting the medications, we're promoting health and wellness. We're saying, regardless of whether you're going to be on protocols or you're going through a cycle or whatever you're doing, find out where your levels are while you're doing this, before, during, after, so you can make some, educated decisions about what you're going to do and not regret it, later in life or permanently. So we're actually trying to change that mentality through education. Pushing it through. That's really what we're trying to do right now, is get the market to understand.
You're doing it though.
Yeah.
Just from our talk with Phil today, it was like the understanding and the teaching that you guys are doing over there is second level.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's great too. It was like, so if anybody's at home and you guys, we're going to give all the information for them to get a hold of you guys. And I want these kids send emails. I want the people to really get their blood work done, go in and be smart about this stuff, because it is, again, it's health and fitness should be health and fitness. You should be, living a full life in a great way.
The best part about that too with the blood work is that we are in all 50 states. We have contracts with LabCorp and Quest Diagnostics, so you should have one of these easily accessible places right by you.
Yeah. If somebody wants to go in and get their blood work, what it would be a basic price? Is there a basic price?
Yeah, there's a basic price, a startup fee, $369, and that pays for the physician's fee for the entire year. So as we're reviewing and consulting with the physician during that time frame, that's covered. And then the rest of the blood work is included with that, the extensive panel and the reading and the consultation.
Not one person better say $369 is expensive. That's your life. Just shut up. If it's $369, just block me from any of my programs.
We've had folks that have tried to do this through their primary care, and the primary care physician said, okay, fine, I'll give you all these steps. And then their insurance wouldn't cover it, and they're getting a bill for like $1,900. So the way we've kind of worked it with LabCorp and Quest, we've been able to lower the price and bring that, entry level to make it more affordable for most people.
I love that. That's affordable for anybody.
Yeah. And we'll take an HSA and FSA. We're private pay, so we can't do insurance. But we can take those too. So you can utilize those benefits.
I love that. I want to take a second from my show to say thank you to one of our sponsors, Transcend. This is the health and wellness company that my family has chosen to work with. They get your blood work done so you understand what is going on inside. We might look good on the outside, but you never know what's going on. So that's who I'm recommending for you guys out there. Get on over to Transcend. Get your blood work done today. Make sure you're healthy and stay in the game. Jeffrey, give me some questions, big dog. Let's get into some real questions, I want real questions. I don't want these idiot questions. Jeez Louise.
There's tons of the basics.
So give me a couple basics on where their mindset's at.
Yeah, it's like even some of these basics I don't want to even ask
I know.
because
Try
I know.
We need a laugh.
Right. Here's a majority of them is when is the best time to start. When is the best time to start TRT? When is the best time to start taking steroids? That was the overwhelmingly greatest response.
Well, there's actually an answer when your body tells you you need to, and that's based on blood work and symptoms. If you are an athlete and it's hitting you younger or earlier, well, then obviously when you get your blood work, it'll tell you. If it's later,
if they don't understand that,
yeah.
If you guys don't understand, because he keeps going back to, if you're an athlete and it hits you younger and earlier, understand that athletes kind of, in a sense, you're breaking down your body.
Stress.
Yeah. And so your T levels will be lower because of the exhaustion that you're giving your body in the workouts and everything. And so that's why MMA fighters were doing it and stuff like that. And that's why it breaks down quicker than the average.
Yeah. And just to be clear too, like I said, anabolics, that's the second thing or the last thing we're going to go to. You know, generally speaking, we use mostly peptides.
Oh,
You
did
know,
our brains just connect?
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy.
we might have done this once.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the athletes and, you know, they might have needs earlier because of all the depletion, it's not necessarily testosterone. You know, their IGF level could be off, their thyroid could be off, they could be depleted in a certain nutrient, you know, they could have inflammation. There's a ton of different things and factors that we're looking at to take care of. You know, the anabolic side of it, you know, we'll watch that and see how things go over time, and then we'll make a decision when it's right. But it's not an instant. You go on this. That'll fix it.
I love that you baby step it. Because, you know, the blood work can say something, and you guys can go in and try to, like any doctor. Doctor's just going to give you the medication. Go on your way.
Yep.
You know, we'll give you a shot in the back. Your back hurts. All right, go on. We'll see you in 6 months. You guys are actually kind of designing a program for the individual off of his personal blood work and how he deals with the product. I think most people think if you take some tea, you all grow the same. And you were just saying like the difference even just between testosterone and your free testosterone.
Yeah.
Or how your body can utilize it. Some bodies utilize better than other bodies.
Conversion ratios.
Yeah.
And, you know, with
Another really cool thing we do is educate the patient about each medication so they can make the right decision for themselves too.
educating our influencers as well. So they're putting out the right information. We're very consistent with anybody that we work with. Before we release any information, we kind of just work together so they understand and are aligned with what we're trying to put out there.
And if anybody doesn't know what a peptide is, they're chains of amino acids that make up proteins. So people in the supplement industry know about aminos and your proteins.
Yeah.
In the middle, we have the peptides that are chains that can do specific things. We could tweak them a little bit to tell your body to tan, produce HGH, help with brain cells, heal, help with anxiety and depression, and a lot of other things.
Yeah, there's thousands of them. We probably work with about 40 to 50 of them routinely at different dosages.
Because 157 is big right now.
Yeah, and we have 157 in multiple different forms and levels
just
and
wait.
deliveries. There's
It's
other
really that good, huh?
Well, there's other
We
things
got
that are
more.
coming out. So I'll make another point here in a second. But the peptides are signalers to the body. So essentially, that's all they are: is aminos that are signaling to say to do the things that Jesse was talking about. So we can utilize those to go through any of the symptoms we're seeing, supplement it with maybe glutathione for inflammation or something like that. But what we strive to do is we're never satisfied with what's here. We know that certain medications, sometimes they get put on FDA do not compound list and they're taken away, so we have to have something else. There's constantly new things that are being out there. So we've partnered with all of our pharmacy vendors that make these medications. We research and find out what other people are doing. And, you know, we strive to find out and get medical studies, research, get with our physician. And we have protocols no one's even heard of yet that we're already looking at what we could use down the road. We're not satisfied with what we have today.
Then question back to what Jeff was saying. Says you can kill that. What's the right age to start? What was that kind of what the question was? When's the right time to start?
Yeah, let's help us.
And I think we all agree that it's when the blood work says, maybe
Yeah.
when your body says and stuff, and you kind of discuss it with somebody. And then also when your goal is kind of set up for it.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm going to go against the guy that goes in and goes, I'm 21 years old. I want to win Mr. Olympia next year. All right. Well, wait till you're 22 and then decide that. But
How long have you been training?
yeah, I'm going to train after I get on the tee. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
good luck with that. Peptides, are those different in the sense of could you start it at a certain age? Would this be beneficial to prevent?
Yeah, definitely. They're a lot safer to use. Like we said, you know, there's a debate whether they're natural or people consider them natural or not. You could have the same debate about creatine and protein powder and anything else synthetically made or manufactured. We view them as very safe to use. So if we have very young patients and they need them for certain reasons or they're looking to enhance performance, that's the first place to go because there's a very low likelihood of a side effect. Nothing is side effect proof. There's always something that could happen, but the likelihood, the significance of that is so much lower that it opens up the door. And
Also gives you
moving
that
around.
second chance.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, maybe your body's shutting down a little bit. Maybe you need a kickstart.
Yeah, tweak
Make
it, add a
that-
signal.
Signals, boom, maybe kickstart your body.
Yep.
And if that doesn't work, then you still got the other option.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily even need to go to option B till, it could be 10 years down the road. It's not something you need to do right away. If option A is working, it's working.
Yeah, and with the peptides, we can kind of really dive into more outside of the bodybuilding world too, to help people like you were just talking about, Phil, with a business career, with mental clarity and focus, and doing really big things
Which
that
he's loving.
you haven't been able to
Just so
do
you
before.
know.
He loves that hex.
Oh man,
We kept talking about that.
I couldn't say anything during that part. He's like, "No, trust me, I got boom, boom, boom."
Yeah,
I
I
was
probably
like,
doubled up.
yeah, and I love that because I've never been a bodybuilder. I've done bodybuilding, I've done powerlifting, I've done martial arts, but I've always been an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And his and my beliefs are, we're going to continue to do all of this. And what I want these guys out there to do is, this isn't for you, and I'm not doing this for you bodybuilders today. I'm doing this for you kids to understand there's options, and also talk to people like this that know, and not just your family doctors. Your family doctor is probably just that old school 12-week course on their nutrition. They say the same thing kind of thing.
Family doctor. In most
You know nutrition now. You did 12 weeks in college. All right.
Yep.
Family doctor, in most cases, they hear that someone's getting hormone panels or getting any type of blood work going to a clinic like ours. They're initially going to think steroid mill, and they're going to tell them to run away and go away. So we also need to do better about working with our medical community so they understand what we're trying to do and achieve, and kind of work together and a little bit better.
I think it'd be easier right now. I would think, but I again,
we're finding that, like with our physician and his staff and our communication together, we have that person in the middle between the patient and the doctor, and we call them wellness specialists. They're essentially a concierge that works as a coach to go through and advocate for the patient, find everything they need, and then actually take that time to spend with the doctor and make sure that everything's aligned and get everything set up. So when the patient has the meeting with the physician, all of the guesswork is already out, and you get right to the questions and the informed consent and the things that are required and necessary. They can make an educated decision on how they want to handle their healthcare.
One other thing that we need to educate the younger generation on is that you can't just go to a website and buy peptides.
No.
So
Thank
God, no.
you can zoom into some of these places on Google Maps and see that it's made in the basement or wherever, right? So you have to get it from a trusted source, get it where the raw material is actually filtered correctly. That's what a lot of you're paying for when you get these peptides too, to make sure it gets out the harmful chemicals, the metals, whatever can really screw you up long term. They're like, oh, I see I can buy it for $20 off this site over here, and it's going to last me 3 months.
There's a reason it's $20.
We're trying to work with common sense here. That really doesn't have any common sense,
That's huge.
in my opinion.
That's huge.
Yeah. So a lot of the things that have factors that depend on, someone will say, why? Well, one, it depends on the source of the raw materials that place is getting it from, to the compounding facility and how they're making it, and most importantly, the filtrations and what they're actually getting out of the things that are not purities of that medication. When you get something from a pharmacy that we're working with, we've seen the books of the FDA inspections. We've seen where they're getting the raw materials. We know their manufacturing process. We have a QA person on site who is a chemist and can go in and make sure that what they're doing is actually what they're supposed to be doing. So when you actually get a product, it's actually going to help.
I love that you guys said that, because I'll guarantee the guys at home right now, the kids and stuff, are getting on peptides and what, SARMs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We got to talk about that, but I guarantee everybody talks about 157 right now and stuff, and they're getting the $20 a bottle, and they're getting that stuff, and they're going, oh, it doesn't work. And so that's cool to hear you guys talk about it, going, well, yeah, but it's the old school, the bathroom water.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing because you don't really hear about them that much in the bodybuilding world, because the bodybuilding type of steroids that we're talking about are kind of cheap. You get them from your guy down the road. Nobody's making peptides down the road, right?
No.
So they're going to be a little bit more expensive. In the bodybuilding community, people aren't used to paying that much. So these are things that we know actually work, and they're more natural.
Yeah. They are a more expensive route. So I'll be transparent in that aspect. We've done the best we can based on manufacturing, leverage, volume, all the things that you can.
What's expensive? If you can give me just a rough idea.
Oh, I don't even know.
BPC is around $270 for a month.
Yeah.
$270 for your health.
Right.
See, I correlate it to your health. It's like these guys are going out and eating dinner or drinking alcohol for a week, and they're spending $400.
A bottle
So it's
of
like,
wine,
yeah,
chill.
$100.
So,
I've done it before.
So the best thing I can equate it to is after the sign-up fee, most of our patients, their out-of-pocket expense is somewhere around $800 to $1,200 for a protocol. Our protocols are 120 days. So generally speaking, with everything, 2 refills going on a year, it could be anywhere between $2,800 and $4,000 for the year out of pocket. If you look at most of your deductibles and most health insurance plans, you're going to pay that out of pocket anyways. So now at least for another option that you can get preventative health care versus something that's reactive and singular based and not going to be holistic.
So you can sleep at night.
Yeah.
You're getting real stuff.
I help you sleep at night.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do.
And you'll help really
We
sleep
have
at
stuff
night.
your circadian rhythm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Let me say it again. I think medicine, especially health and wellness in this sense, is a miracle. And again, the discovery of all the stuff that they have talked about was in medical fields to help people, from burn patients to kids that were not born with adequate size. So there's so much more to it. Now, can you use this stuff to be a competitive athlete? Of course you can. I wish you wouldn't, mostly at the beginning of your stages. And I wouldn't say go from ground zero to 100. I would say learn what you can. And then also understand this. I'll say this 100 times over. For everybody out there that talks to me on Instagram, listen, you're going to be you may do one show in your lifetime. Okay. You may be doing one bodybuilding show in a lifetime. Some of you may do a little bit more. Most of you won't do a show. And the point there is, if you're doing something to win a trophy relative to live a life, that's where my issue is. My issue is, if you're going to do something, do it so you can live a full life. It's an amazing thing. And you can go talk to any elite guy at the very pinnacle of his career in his sport and talk to them after they retire. They say there's so much more life to live. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I finished competing in the 90s. Doesn't mean I don't stop training. I don't stop eating correctly. I don't stop taking care of my body. But there's other aspects of my life that I want to be able to do. And right now, at this stage of my life, I want to make sure in 20 years, I can tussle with my son and give him a good match. So that's what this show is going to be continuously about, and bringing on these experts to talk to you about how you can become the very best in this world, how you can hold on to that as long as you want, and then how you can become the very best person in this. All right. Enjoy. Thank you. I will see you guys next Thursday on the Mike O'Hearn Show right here on Generation Iron.